Okay guys, so we're going to do our first experiment, okay, and our first experiment here is going to involve this piece of steel wool. My question to you is, if I find the mass of this steel wool, and then I pull this steel wool apart, so I'm just going to kind of expand it to make it look like it's bigger, okay, what's going to happen to the mass of the steel wool? What do you think? Is the mass going to increase as I get it so it's bigger? Is it going to decrease, or is it going to stay the same? So I want you to make a prediction about what you think is going to happen. So first I'm going to weigh the steel wool. Okay, so I've got my triple beam balance here. Here, this back slider is already set at 10 here. Okay, and then I'll just move over my small slider so I can get to the correct value. Okay. Takes a little bit of patience working with the triple beam balance. That looks about right there. Okay, so my back slider's at 10. My front slider is here. What do you think the mass is of my steel wool if my back slider's at 10 and my front slider's here? Pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Okay, so if the back one's at 10, I know that my steel wool is at least 10 grams, and my front slider is greater than 2. So I have a pin here. My front slider is greater than 2. Okay, so I know it's greater than 12 grams. And then not quite 3, so it's in between 12 and 13 grams. It's over, my slider is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then not quite to 7 notches. So I know that my piece of steel wool is 12 grams and 0.6, right? Because it's 6 notches over, 12.6. And then it's almost to that 7, not quite. So I'm going to say it's 12.69 grams. All right? So my piece of steel wool is 12.69 grams. Let me refocus this thing. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of pull apart my steel wool. Let me know if you notice anything while I'm doing this. I don't know if you can sort of pulling this apart here. I'm making it bigger. Okay, so now it's kind of this long sort of tube here. Maybe I'll pull it apart some more. Notice how I'm pulling it apart over the pan. There's a reason why I'm doing that. Okay, so I've got my tube. I'm going to put it back on my balance pan. Make sure it's not touching anything. All right. And I bring it back. And I don't know if you can see the balance pointer here, but we're right at the same level as before. So what does that mean? That means that I stretched out my steel wool and I didn't have a change in the mass. The mass stayed the same.